because we weren't a part of it, but our race was oppressed.
Bro.
Our ancestors was oppressed. Yes. And so what we can do now for those who are educated enough, who will actually give the advice to those to do so, and don't do it because they're too busy trying to knock down their friends or try to be better than everybody else type shit. That's our fault. For those who do that kind of shit. So
you're blaming poverty on black people?
There's something we can do about that. If you want to sit here and put poverty solely on us, there's something we can do about that.
But is it solely on black people?
Which was one of my points beforehand. Well, the shit that we do and everything like that, is it true? Just like what we're saying about the Chinese. Is it true? And if it is true, are they not doing anything about it? Just like for the things that's true about us, are we not doing anything about it?
Stop talking around the points.
My point is literally just how we're subject to change, just like everybody's subject to change or whatever the case may be. We're all capable of the same shit.
But are we solely responsible for poverty is the question.
Who's responsible for poverty?
Mark?
No, I'm asking you a legit question. Are you going to answer the question or not? Who's responsible for poverty?
Government is responsible for poverty in general.
Okay, who's part of the government? Who's the government?
Mark.
Who's the government?
Who's
Mike?
predominantly who's predominantly in government, sir? Old white people.
Okay.
Point blank period. So
do we not have some black folks that are part of the government?
Do we have a very
answer the question?
Few,
yes,
very
or no?
few, very few.
Okay, and what do you think those who are part of the government also do? Those of our race.
Mark, what the fuck? Now you're trying to cape.
I'm not trying to cape.
You are, because you're trying to pinpoint a very select few.
I'm being a realist. We are all capable of the same negative shit.
But on a grand scale.
On a
grand scale, we have a very limited amount of people in a government. If we had the same,
put it like this: if we had the same opportunity to flip the roles, whites onto whites, blacks, Asians, whatever the case may be, if we had the same opportunity to do the same shit they did, do you think we are not capable of doing it?
But that's not the case here. We're not talking about hypotheticals. Like I said, no hypotheticals here.
People is a race, bro. At this point.
But that's not how it's viewed. It doesn't matter how you think it is. It's about how it's viewed today. The way we look at it is, it's us, it's them. They see it as it's us, it's them. There is no such thing as I don't see color because it's not a fucking point to be made.
That's putting too much power into that to such a minuscule thing.
That's not a minuscule thing.
What you mean? To me?
Yeah.
So, like, if that's such a far-fetched thing to just sit here, just basically categorize everything for race, why the fuck do we give so much power to it in the first place? Like, me and him are having a conversation about it right now. Mm-hmm. He may be one of the people who might agree that it could be, people should be just a race, not just, Asians, black, this, and this. Right. But at the same time, we're feeding to it where it's like, that's what it is, that's how it's seen. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. I mean, look, I get it. I get looked at a certain type of way probably most of the time, as much as I don't notice because of my race or whatever. So the fuck what?
I mean, I kind of feel like at the end of the day, we all concede to it one way or another.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're all capable of negative and good shit. We're capable of helping each other out. We're capable of stealing. Who's gonna say there's a race that never stole anything? There's a race that never killed. We all do the same fucking shit, bro.
Yeah, but
all of the same fucking. The only thing is just like it's kind of like just the blame method. Well, yeah, but you guys do it more just so basically. Then that's where it can be your free word caped. Oh yeah, just so we can blindside how much is happening over here. It's like deflecting, bro. Like
at this point, you're deflecting.
We all do the same shit, Mike.
No, like just because we all do the same shit does not mean that one does not benefit from it more.
Yeah, that's
what
the biggest difference.
It is a scenario that somebody's benefiting more, and that's when I got to that question that I asked you earlier. If we had the opportunity to do the same shit, do you think we would?
But that's a hypothetical. We're not talking about hypotheticals. We're talking about what's happening at this exact moment. But
also to answer your question, black people will be the same way. But
that's just my point.
But you're just looking at hypotheticals. You cannot look at it as a hypothetical. You have to look at it as the exact same thing as what it is now.
Of the same thing, bro. You want to know how that's proven? Because there's some people out there that are of our race that actually have the opportunity that got a little bit of power and shit like that. What the fuck do you see them do? They try to put themselves above other people. They buy things like penthouses and shit like that for a source of power. They want to feel that power. They want to show it off. They want to do this, and they use certain things to take advantage of other people of that same race.
Listen to this, listen to this. Were you
to a certain degree? To a certain degree, for those who would like to complain about it, of the African American descent or even the African descent, bro. Mm-hmm. There's a certain particular time that we are being very hypocritical at this point,
bro. Look at it this way. Do you think the Native Americans think that?
I don't know what the Native Americans think. If it's negative, quite on the contrary, I don't care.
There's no if there.
Well, look, I don't care.
That's sad.
I don't. I care. I care enough because it's disrespectful to anybody. It's disrespectful because you're doing it to another fucking human being. That's my point. But at the same fucking time, bro, if you want to sit here and walk around with a chip on the shoulder because I'm black, okay.
No. We're not talking about. We're not talking about because you're black.
Destroy yourself, feeling a certain type of way because they're not the same race as you,
dude.
All right, so
Native Americans were naturally black.
Okay.
I don't care what they look like now. They were naturally black.
If we're talking about race and you're having an issue towards somebody because they're not the same race as you or whatever, then I mean, shit.
I wasn't talking about the whole like looking at people differently because of the race. I was talking about the fact. Do you think that Native Americans will feel like okay with the fact that they were butchered and murdered and completely just damn near taken out of the entirety?
I feel it. I feel why there's the history that falls back onto them that makes them feel that way. Just like we feel a certain type of way because of slavery. And I feel for those who undergone it. I feel for those who were totally affected for it, even probably to this generation now. But at the same time here, are we affected by it?
Yes.
There's racism still.
No. There's still institutions that have been funded and also have been established based off of slave money and are still going off of that same type of money today and still building off of that.
Okay, so that's where I came into
White House. Point blank period.
When I came into, for certain particular things, I'm not aware, and I'm glad I'm not aware because I don't care because there's certain type when you start to ingest a lot of ignorance and shit like that.
It's not ignorance. It's called facts.
No, what I'm saying, but it's an ignorant fucking thing to do, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
Why is that ignorant to learn?
No. I'm not saying it's ignorant to learn.
He's talking about the overall action.
Yes.
Yeah.
So chill out. But when it comes to that, then I'm glad I don't ingest that as much because it's just like, bruh, like that's just taking in too much negativity. Just think about most of the time. You still living in this fucking world, whether you're gonna do something about it or not. Now, if you do have the opportunity to do something about it, then go for it. Just like I said, there's educated African American or African or black people, to be very quite general, that are out there educated and try to rally people for us to do something about it, like T.I., for example, then that's awesome. But if you don't do nothing about it because we're too busy trying to be better than the next man who's also a black man or whatever the case may be, then shame on you for that situation, like I was saying before. And what brought me to this realization for real, and I'm sticking so hard to it because like it is a real thing. We out here too busy trying to be looking better, being better, kicking down the next person who's also a black man. We really don't care too much about bringing each other up for real. We are just now possibly getting into this role because now we had a lot of time to sit on our ass and think about it. But for real, we weren't like that all the time. We were too busy trying to be better, trying to outclass everyone in our same race.
Wasn't always like that.
Then. Well, okay, I'm going to say something that probably you're going to disagree with because you've been disagreeing more than exactly. But the most of the time where we really banded together was when we were still being oppressed. Back in those times, when racism was at a higher rate.
Yeah.
Why is it that like that now? Oh, now that we got the freedom, a little bit more freedom than what it was back then, we still don't care about each other? That's fucking retarded. That's conditional as shit. So, like, come on, bro. If you want to do something about it, do something about it. If you want to feel a certain type of way, then really be about that action. Don't be sometimesy about the shit. Oh, well, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do, I want to feel a certain type of way, but I'm also kick down the next man who's the same fucking race as me. That's fucking retarded, bro. Then at this point, then why the fuck would I care about your opinion? So, like I said, just when and like I heard this from T.I. on a podcast from 85 South, and it just woke me up on that same shit again. Yeah, yo, back then from all the money, because he was doing hypothetical numbers. I don't know if it was quite accurate, but he was like, from racism, this, and this, they could pay us off from the descendants from slaves and this, and this, and we can do this and also work our way through and all that. Then we can do that. Then also there's the bitch ass niggas that I don't want to quote him entirely because it's not in verbatim, but typically the bitch ass niggas who will actually take the payoff and stay quiet, if you will, about certain things. Like, all right, well, look, I see that this is happening, but I'm going to pay you to stay a little bit more quiet so all this noise can die down type of shit. Mm-hmm. That's the type of shit that does happen, especially in our race. Right. All right, cool. We're bought off. And so now, since we felt a certain type of way, the only reason why most of the time that a lot of us feel a certain type of way now because we're not benefiting from it. But I'll guarantee you, if we got enough to set us and our own families off, a lot of us will sit here and say, all right, cool, well, you know what, I'm good. I still kind of feel a certain type of way, but at the same time, I'm not going to make enough noise as I was before about it.
But check this out. That's what I was telling you the last time y'all was here when we was talking about divorces and stuff. And if you was entitled to get that settlement, remember how everybody was saying, no, I wouldn't take the money, I wouldn't take, but I was saying that exact same thing, remember? Like, so now.
Me personally, I would take money from what it is that I went through with that spouse.
But right, whatever but you wasn't saying that last time.
No, but whatever, what I'm saying is whatever it is that you made before me or whatever, that's you. I didn't help you do that.
But you
and whatever
I
do afterwards, then it's like, man, well, shit, man. If you wanted this money, then you should have stuck with me because now the progress came after you left. All right, well, shit. You leaving was probably the best thing for me. Now I can go ahead and focus on shit to get more money than what we had when we was married.
But see, niggas weren't saying that last time, though.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say that in verbatim, but that's where I was getting at, though.
But yeah, but that's what if you spin it back around to what we talking about now, it's like a person's going to do the same thing. Like you said, at the end of the day, if a person know that they can feed their family, depending on what kind of experiences they've been through, that's all they really going to look out for. Like you said a few minutes ago, it's conditional. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't going to be like, damn, I probably could.
I would like to feed my family more than the next guy would. Sure.
Right, but
at the same, it's just like, bro, like if I'm gonna sit here and make a big stink about everything, bro, and I'm gonna make noise,
but that's what people do. That's
like, so I'm gonna still stick to the reason why I was making noise.
Nah, it don't work like that because the thing is, people, once somebody get in a certain position, people turn on people. Like we had this conversation,
and that's how you can control, bro.
Right? But let me finish. We had this conversation like numerous times, and I bring up Jay-Z every time. I'm like, bro. A nigga will start off at the bottom, and this is prevalent in the black community. A nigga will start off at the bottom, and you'll see a nigga grinding. Look at Slim grind. They doing this thing. Bro, soon as a nigga get bumped up a tier on the ladder, oh, damn, cousin sold out. You know what I'm saying? And then let him be a little bit more, oh, cousin joined the Illuminati. Like, bruh, like, that's going to be with anybody that does anything. So what do? People just... Yo, let me just get this. Let me look up on my family.
When you speak of that, I'm thinking of the whole sellout thing. Now, like, if you be successful, go ahead, be successful. But also, at the same time, I'm sitting there talking about, like, helping each other out. Like, you know what I'm saying? If Jay-Z was just like, well, nah, bro, like, man, what the fuck you ain't doing for you? Now, and typically, you hear that a lot from those who made it. You ain't doing nothing for yourself. Why would I affiliate myself with you? Like, you're on a lower tier than me. How the fuck? Like, come in. Well, you gonna help me get there? Sometimes it's not what you know, it's also who you know a little bit.
Fact.
Like, you know, because you're going to have to get that certain knowledge from somebody who made it, you're going to have to get that certain knowledge from. A lot of people don't do that. That's what I call the sellout method. Where you're just like, well, nah, man, I'm up here. I made this shit, bro. I don't know about you. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to care, especially if you want to put it on race, if you want to care, you're going to fucking care. You're going to help you're gonna help the come up, not just for
I
yourself,
mean, yeah,
but for others.
everybody's gonna help somebody, but in order to help like the masses, people will have to change their mentality. That's why the masses aren't being helped because one,
And
technically,
what
the masses.
mentality does it that keeps us from doing that?
What I just said. Like it might is to go off and be successful. It's a reason. It's a negative tone of why he's successful instead of him working his ass off, writing poems every single day, posting poems every single day. It's going to be something like he joined the Illuminati.
For those who are typically making comments like that, what do you think it is that they're doing? Trying to be better than the next man? Because that's all. The only reason why they want to do that.
They're subconsciously making an excuse why he's ahead and they're not.
Yeah, because that's all they want to do.
But that's the community. Is that not the community?
And that's why most of them
we
haven't
have
made
to
it.
deal with.
Is that like
that's for some of those who are getting the karma right away for not making it like how they want.
But it's not. They're
haters.
It's no karma. If he makes it first, how's that karma?
No, what I'm saying. No, the karma is that those who are having these comments.
Yeah, they got.
They're not getting what they want right now.
Just because he made it doesn't mean that you're not going to make. He just made it first.
And like I said, those who make those comments are typically the ones who, if they was to make it, are just going to be like, yeah, fuck you type shit.
But no, all I'm saying is that's why it's hard to help like the community because that's what you're dealing with in the community. Anything you do good, there's a negative reason why you achieved it according to the masses and your community. I see it for myself all the time. Like, and I know you've seen me have this conversation with people before, but it's like the feeding the homeless thing.
Yeah.
People feed the homeless. And it's, why you got to record yourself? Why you got, bruh, it don't, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm not one that, like, typically record myself, but I'm like, if you do, I don't care. Because there's a good deed being done. We can sit up here on Facebook and watch people be murdered. We watch bitches get raped. All types of stuff. But when somebody does something good, you're not supposed to record something good being done. People don't hear how that sound.
A lot of people do that because it's like, you're still patting yourself on the back type of shit.
But bruh,
I mean, no, and I get what you're saying because you want to bring awareness.
When we see,
you want to bring awareness to this type of shit.
When we see people having sex on the internet, what does it make people want to go do?
Obviously,
have sex.
Yeah.
Right. When you see
but
you're
people, bringing awareness to it. That's why I know why you're doing it.
Yeah. So why? What's the difference between when somebody does something good?
Because
I said, it's a negative tone.
They're not the ones who are achieving it. See, like I said, if they're not the ones who's doing it,
right? But I'm saying that's why people are not helping them as that's our community.
What happened, and that's why I'm saying like people are too busy trying to be better than the next man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All I care about is being better than them, like that stupid ass bravado that people have.
Right.
So. That's what fucking set us the fuck back. And instead of just, let me help. Or, let me see if I get that social media information, man. I see that he's out there helping. Hey, do you mind if you get extra hands? Fucking help.
Right. But like you said, it's the bravado, it's the pride. Because it's like you said, it was to you, not to you specifically, but to a said person, to you, it's a competition. When to him, he's just doing what he loves every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but in a nutshell, that's why black people won't never like really until people if Mike raises up a position, until people greet that with a positive tone, then it's not going to be no improvement.
And that's why they're going to continue to fail because they don't know how to work the fuck together. Right. They're too busy trying to compete. But that's a miserable ass fucking concept right there.
But to be honest, you have to take into consideration that a lot of this mindset was designed.
Right. Like you said earlier, it's conditional.
It is. It's conditional, but it was cleverly designed for a specific reason.
By what? What was it designed by?
To keep people divided.
Exactly.
By who? Like, so what was the design really? Like, if you can map that out.
First, it's not that difficult to map out.
So
the idea for the design of this specific concept, it started first and foremost like the whole Jim Crow shit. Like they knew exactly how to keep black minds intact. How did Denzel say it? Keep the body, take the mind. That was the idea behind that. So as long as you had the body to work for you and just do whatever it needed to do, it didn't matter what the fuck they was thinking.
Right.
because you knew they weren't thinking of nothing good anyway.
Right.
You were 3/5 of a man for a reason, supposedly, even though you were technically better than what they were.
And to piggyback off that, not to cut you off, but to piggyback off that is also, if you change it to a mental thing, you can control more than just one race.
Yeah.
You know, now you can bring everybody into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was just piggyback off that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as, well, I'm not going to say there's a such thing as physical slavery, but mental slavery is where it's at. And they understood that.
And Lord knows if you can get both.
Exactly. And they have, like, that idea stemmed off of so much. And then you deal with the whole, they had their Great Depressions and all that other shit pales in comparison. So then you have to deal with the lynchings and all that other shit, like after slavery was over. You know, there's actually people who had slaves still in the 60s. They had plantations and still had, like, over, I forgot exactly where, but I saw it on Vice. But they had people who were actually still had plantations and slaves back in the 60s. Niggas didn't even know about half of the shit that was going on because they didn't allow them to watch anything on the news or anything like that. Like, the slave owners knew exactly what was going on. They just didn't want to get rid of their slaves.
And how would you get caught unless somebody really specifically rolled up on you?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, and even then, like,
in the 60s, they didn't care enough about black people for that shit.
I about to say, even then, they probably was just like, I'm gonna just look the other way.
Yeah.
You know, but if
there's just another nigga.
Yeah, if you get caught, you get caught.
And then you also have to deal with the fact that after we started unifying, they destroyed everything. Like, all of it. Like, we had so many different places. Like, we had Black Wall Street at Rosewood. There's so many different places that we had somewhat of a foothold on what we wanted. Like, that unity was there. That unity we're missing now, it was there. Unfortunately, they decided to get rid of it. They was like, we can't have niggas doing this. Right. They're going to get higher than what we are. And then they're going to take over. Their biggest fear was having the same thing done to them that they had done to everybody else. They hated that idea.
Right.
And
because they were already in a position, they could think ahead and put little strategic stuff in place to separate people.
Yeah, and then
so
hold on. Like, the stock market existed a long, long time ago. We weren't allowed to exist within that market until what, the 70s, 60s, 70s, some shit like that. We had no idea of what to do in the stock market because we weren't allowed to be a part of it. They were stacking up money since the 1700s in the stock market. They had investments from God knows how long.
Because we were part of that stock. We were cargo.
Yeah, we were all valuable assets. A slave was an asset. It was not a human being. Mm-hmm. We were the equivalent to cattle. The amount of money that a person had as far as a slave owner was based off of how many slaves and how much work can get done within a specific day.
So based off of what was being said, to kind of answer my question, because I was about to say, are we talking about other races again? Which also still brings me back to our point, since we have access to all this stuff. Like,
all the stuff like what?
Well, now for example, we now have access to the stock market. And
right.
All that. And so comparing the numbers for those who are actually doing something
mm-hmm.
and for those who are doing something and willing to teach and to help within our race, for sure. Like, what do you think the comparison looks like? Because there's still a lot of people who are just doing so damn much and just like, man, well, shit, fuck it, I ain't got time for you. Unless you legitimately don't
are you specifically talking about the stock market, or you just mean like in general?
In general, like just in our race being successful, because like I said, there's so many of us who are not really helping each other out. And then, of course, there are those who do take advantage, and for those who are really not helping themselves be helped. But
right.
Then there's those who genuinely do want help. And it's just like, all right, well, I don't got time for you. It's just like, I'm in a better place. I really don't want to fuck with you. That happens. We are, as much as we want to put up so much noise about, oh, this, that, and the third, and racism, and such and such and such, you're still you're emulating the same characteristics of what was happening back then when it was such high slavery.
Right.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna give you access. I ain't gonna teach you shit. I'm gonna keep you in the dark type shit. If you happen to find out from somebody else, it ain't gonna be from me. We do the same shit
Right.
as much as we complain about it. That's my point.
You're absolutely correct. But like he said earlier, the thing is, it's more devastating because they have way more resources. So when they
It's
do it,
devastating
it's
that we
hurting you.
even know that we are still a part of that culture that we complain so much about being hurt, and we are also doing that as well.
Yeah,
that's even more devastating.
You're
That's literally you're doing that shit. You're getting that shit done to you by your own family.
You're not wrong, but we look. All right, so I give you an example, right? Let's say Mike knows something that could like make a huge difference in our lives, but he's withholding the information. Like him specifically as one person withholding information, it is detrimental to us, but it's not going to be as detrimental as a whole structured government withholding information, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because now you're bringing in millions of people being left out high to dry.
Oh yeah, the numbers, of course. If we talk about the numbers,
Right.
yeah, the numbers is always devastation in numbers.
Right.
But when it comes to like the
Either way, it's
actions, the
bad.
mores, and how things are happening, and even how it feels or whatever, that is more devastating happening by your own people.
Right.
We're no longer talking about the numbers. We're talking about things that hit more to the core. That's even more abstract, if you will.
But that's not though.
Like it's kind of like, for an example, you could always take physical pain, but it's the emotional and mental pain that's harder to deal with.
Which that was an ingrained mindset based on slavery, sir.
Okay, but you see how much how much damage it caused, right? So that's what I'm kind of saying. Like here, okay, of course we got the government that's against us, made by the man, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, let's
and
not call
everything.
it the man. We already know.
Whatever, Mike. Like
The man.
whatever. I'm trying to keep from saying the white man. and shit
Jive,
like that.
turkey.
But like, so it's one thing to sit here and have a problem with whomever who started it. It's even worse and disrespectful to have somebody who's like, who's supposed to be with you, who also suffered with you, to finally get into that place and start doing certain things that again imitates the oppression in the first place. Right. It's just like, dog, what the fuck? Like, dog, we came up together. We were supposed to do this together. We hurt together, and here it is now. Like, we don't have to necessarily come up together at the same time, but I'm also trying to come up. I'm trying to put in the work too. And you withholding the access to information from me? You trying to stifle that? Like, that's where it's fucked up.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing is, like, you gotta look
like,
at the fact.
to me, that's gonna hurt more. Like, the other shit, the government shit and all that's been around for many years. Go figure. All right, boom. That's the world. That's the world we were born in and we lived in, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that it's okay.
I'm about to say you can't just brush it off.
Yeah, you definitely can't
it's
brush that
still
shit off.
bothersome, but it exists. But at the same time, it's closer. It's much closer when it happens from your race. That's, like I said, it's deeper. That's where it gets deep.
I get it, but look at it from this perspective. If the government wasn't doing what they was doing, you wouldn't even mind if your bro did some shit like that to you, because it wouldn't matter.
You said what?
If the government was doing what they were supposed to be doing, then somebody like Mike doing that to me wouldn't even matter.
I still would mind, because I believe in helping each other. Like, if you just
okay.
if you just simply just like, nah, bro, like I don't want to help. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm trying to add into it. I'm trying to be a part of the team. I'm trying to learn and shit like that. I'm trying to do this, and this, and this. When you but you're just like, well, I only fuck with people who are on my level. How the fuck do you think they got there? They started for if everybody had to start on a lower level. Like, how do you think it'll happen? Just kind of like with jobs. Well, we expect, like, how difficult sometimes it is to get a security job. We want people that have this, and this amount of experience. How do you think they fucking got it? A lot of them started from ground zero somewhere, right? They didn't just were indoctrinated into it. Like, oh, well, yeah, they either knew somebody and they pulled hella strings, or they had to.
But you gotta understand, the turmoil also starts from stuff like that. Like, if it was just like everybody had a fair crack at everything, it wouldn't be like this kind of like backstabbing and stuff like that. It happens when somebody comes in like, hold on, he was doing this with me. If I'm not qualified, how he qualified? And he got the job. You know what I'm saying? That's when people develop it's either kill or be killed mentality.
Yeah. Well, because there's something on the line for that. Now, unless that friend who was with you working hard and he got pulled in, then if it would be amazing, but like, all right, well, now that I'm in, I got access to this shit. Let me see if I go ahead and try and get him in too, because I know he was busting his ass too.
Yeah, no, if he
just
does
the same
that,
way as I do, if not more.
If he does that, yeah, but what happens when he doesn't?
And then here comes the
damn, my bad, bro.
Yeah, here comes the devastating part. Yeah, my bad, or like I ain't got time for you type of shit. It's devastating because like now you got access to like, yeah, man, I'm above you now. Yeah, I ain't got to worry about you type shit.
Yeah,
it's devastating
once a nigga start bragging and all that, that's when
that's the deep cut that I was talking about.
I kind of feel like I get that, but I still feel like the other one is kind of equal too, though.
In order, I can't
if
say
not more. To
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily what it would take to thwart the bullshit that's happening with the government and all that other stuff. But here's a start. We got people on the inside, and we definitely got some people on the inside that ain't willing to go ahead and let us in the inside.
Then they're not our people. Then that's the problem.
Hurts. Yeah, they switched up.
Then don't count them amongst the ranks. That's the thing.
But if we're talking about race and they are race, I mean, then what? Now all of a sudden we want to ignore that?
Yes.
I feel like
now it's starting to get conditional.
I feel like
First of all, they was black folk when they was suffering with us, but when they're in the inside, no, you're still black. You just
when you're doing stuff that's completely that's going against everything that you stand for as a person and as someone who cares about your.
When it comes to skin color and all this other stuff in your culture, bro, where you come from, right? You black, right? You black. It's just that now you starting to act different.
I feel like
if you're doing detrimental shit towards people who look like you just to benefit the race, the person of another.
I feel like in the government, it's older black people in the government. I feel like once you get like younger black people in the government,
that's true,
or also the younger white people, because you can see like some of the political people that's younger, they're not on that racist stuff. And they're trying to like make sure stuff be even out. That's why like it's a bunch of good stuff. I mean, albeit COVID is around, it's a bunch of good stuff happening in places like California because they're starting to make a bunch of different laws now that can benefit people. That's going to slow down some of like this stuff. But the thing is, another thing that's wrong is like each state got like damn near their own government for real.
Mm-hmm.
So once every state, which will probably never happen, every state gets on the same accord. I mean, I ain't gonna say never. I'm gonna stay positive. I ain't gonna say never. But if every state could get on the same accord, then you might see some changes.
You already see how Texas and Arizona act.
And that's what I was thinking about, because Texas, they want to be like their own country and all that. Arizona, Alaska, like states like that. Other big states like California is different because California, they could be swayed with money. And if it's one thing about black people going to generate money.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
You know what I'm saying? And what people are doing is like, damn, it's like we want to oppress them, but the ones that's getting these shots, these niggas is making niggas billions of dollars.
Yeah, you look at the niggas who are in the entertainment business.
Right.
They generate so much money. Like the only thing that's changed about slavery is that the slave masters got richer.
Yeah, and they're willing to sacrifice that. And you got to think, to a person that's like, say like poor, don't know where his next meal coming from, this and that. He has to make a decision at that point. Like, do I want to go work for them? I know my family would be good. And you're thinking about, like you said earlier, you're thinking about your family in the long run. Like, I'm not thinking about just me anymore. Mm-hmm. It's my kid. When he get older, it's his kids. Like, everybody's going to be good. Because all I'm going to be thinking about is the nights where I couldn't eat. And I wouldn't want nobody else to be feeling that feeling. And you have a chance for nobody else in your family to feel that feeling ever again. So what do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then that also plays in the fact with the resources and shit. Like, we all had access to... Hold on.
Is like a motherfucker.
Hold on, bro.
Like, that's how, like I said, another control outcome there. Like, all right, cool. We're gonna find something to buy you out on. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. like I said, that's your heart, especially when it comes to your family. You're gonna do that. You're gonna want to do what you need to do because of your family. You want to see your family thrive. You don't want to see them struggle anymore, especially because it's right there in your face every day. Now, me, it's like, yes, I would do whatever it is that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what I gotta do for my family, whether it's having to get it from source A or source B. More than likely, they probably end up having to be source B. I'm gonna end up having to make my way because I'm not going to continue to stick with something that's going to oppress everybody of my people as of a race. That's just typically who I am. Yes, I get to feed my family and all this other stuff. Cool. But I can't sit here and have conversations like, yeah, man, this is crazy about this, and this, and that about race. Because at this point, I'm selling out. I'm not buying in or nothing. I'm selling out. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I gotta stay quiet. They giving me extra money to stay quiet. They giving me extra money to not talk.
No,
about
but that's
this.
what
like,
I was.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be that.
No,
I can't have
listen,
a conversation ever about that. And I can't even use the word race anymore.
But look at what I was saying. Look at what I was saying earlier. Now it's the perfect storm. They come around full circle because I'm glad you said that. Now listen to when I say people. What do black people do? Oh, you joined the Illuminati. If niggas is down in me anyway. You're basically pushing him in that direction. Why wouldn't he?
No,
You see what I'm saying?
For those who actually doing things for good causes, that's hella unfortunate. But then,
I mean, that's not good enough. Like just saying it's unfortunate, that's not good enough.
Well, I mean, it hurts.
Like we've
discredited
so many people,
and we do that. Why? Because we are hating ass people. Because we are too busy being in a fucking competition. That again, we're in full circle. We're basically just a revolving door of finding a way to knock each other down. Yeah. Where there's being hating, we're haters. We're also keeping access of good shit from each other or whatever.
Right. That's
now. So there are those for those who are actually doing something big. Then of course we got the haters on our ass, revolving door on us. Yeah. And then of those who made it and just don't care about bringing nobody else in, revolving door.
And for those listening, I even was guilty of that myself. You know what I'm saying? And it took me to see like a certain interview when I was watching the Jay-Z doing the Breakfast Club like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And one of the questions, and this back when I used to like Charlamagne the God, before he just like started wilding out.
Let's not talk about that nigga.
Yeah, he had asked him, and that's what I was saying earlier. He was like, "Why you feel like in the black community nobody can just be good at what they do? Why is it always like a reason for something to happen?" You know what I'm saying? And then basically he was saying what we've been saying, and when I seen that, I was like, "Damn, I've been doing this whole time." Like every time I see somebody do something good, it's always, oh, niggas enjoying the Illuminati. Or like you were saying earlier about the girls, niggas lucky. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? But it just don't be that. Mm-hmm. And I paused the video and everything, and I was like, yo, this whole time I realized I've been hating on niggas. You know what I'm saying? And albeit it might be an Illuminati or whatever. But like I was telling you last time, at the end of the day, a nigga still gotta write rhymes. Yeah. A nigga still gotta put together hit songs.
Besides Drake.
Facts. nigga still gotta fly across the world performing every single night. Like, bruh, it's still a lot of work that go into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they wasn't getting paid, a nigga is still busting his ass. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I had to make a real, like, it was a real self-reflection moment for me. Cause now, and that was just him. Like, that was just Jay-Z. I was doing it to friends and everything. And you just blind to it.
Yeah. It takes, like I said, bro, it only takes a quick moment, like a couple of words in order for you to figure out, shit, I have a problem.
Damn, I've been fucking up this whole time.
Yeah,
I'm surprised niggas don't hate me.
Yeah, it forces that reflection and shit. But the thing is, I look at it this way. If it wasn't for the fact that we lack resources, we probably wouldn't even have that mentality.
Of course. Like you said, everything was like strategically conditioned upon people.
Yeah, and then they put people in position that they know are going to flex on everybody else and make them feel like they're lesser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but speaking of flexing, and then I want to ask you this question. So, we already know the concepts of flexing. All right, we made it and all this other shit. Boom. I ain't got time for you. I'm better than you. I got this. I got that.
I mean, we technically didn't make that.
Or what? Flexing, basically, you know what I'm saying, just you boasting
Right.
to the highest degree. Now, you per se,
Mm-hmm.
say you made it onto celebrity status or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or even if you had to infiltrate, if you will, by like, all right, cool, I have to do this for those who are oppressed, just to get your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do next? You're going to keep trucking to continue to reap all that benefits for just you and your own, or is it that you're going to take the resources, which is owed to you, and kind of like, all right, cool, I'm going to take back what was owed to us as a people, as a race. And
I mean,
now I can start creating my own gateways.
I
Now
do
that I've got the resources,
I do that now without the
money,
resources.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right, so
Yeah,
that's
so me
that's
specifically, yeah.
that's the admiral part. There's a lot of people that don't do that. Now, there's a
Right.
point in time, like, I'm not saying that there will be a time where you may never have to go ahead and go to the dark side, if you will, to do whatever. But now that you made it, now that you got something, and you got the seeds to go ahead and start planting everything in.
It might be too late though, because it depends. Because you gotta think, like I said, if niggas been hating on you the whole entire journey,
Everybody's not going to hate on you, though. There's going to be a lot of haters out there, sure.
yeah.
But everybody's not going to hate on you.
But it depends on how
So
you
it's
react
like
to
it's
it.
just like knowing your best judgment and knowing when to pick and choose. But you can't just say, I'm not going to ever help anybody of my race.
It depends on how you react to like what you go through. Like everybody doesn't react the way that they should. We see it with females, we see it with other people all the time. Like people get put in situations and you be like, damn, why didn't they just do this?
Mm-hmm.
And instead they done something completely out the blue.
Or some
you know
people
what I mean?
just they're not aware of it. They're not aware of the concept of what it is that we're discussing right now.
Oh, people.
I mean, there's some people. There are some
every
people.
black person is
There
aware.
are some people who are aware, and there's just some people
Every
who,
black person
who are
is aware.
not just deeply in depth or in tuned or
Because they don't want to
educated. You know what I'm saying?
Every black person knows.
But
What,
let it
every
be-
black
let-
person
let
knows
it be
what a black
enough.
person been through.
Let it be enough. Let it be said enough. Let it be done and practiced enough. I guarantee you, eventually that circle's going to end up smaller. So what you going to do? Stick on the island by yourself? You're going to want to, unless you totally just like, I don't give a fuck about people in general.
Like I said earlier, why would you when every step of the way people, the masses, we see it on we see on Twitter, the celebrities be getting ran off Twitter all the time.
Say we are the ocean, and the success is the island. You got this big ass island until us, the ocean, starts to grow or starts to consume majority of that island because you're trying to avoid the island. And you got the people on the island for those who will reap the benefit of the success. So it's either you're going to embrace being in an ocean, making access of it or whatever, and then adjusting to it after we start to accumulate this mindset more and more, and then pass it on to other people as they also start to do the same thing and think like us or feel like us and actually try to do something about it. Then we can continue to grow. Down that circle gets smaller, aka that island, that benefit. That person who's on the island is going to have two choices. You're either going to get with it or get lost. Because to get lost is you're going to drown, or your island's going to get small. So your circle begins to lessen. So you're now standing on this very small patch, a hill, if you will.
Right.
If you want to stay, in that place for the rest of your life, fine. You're going to have that hill left if our numbers grow to actually doing something about it.
But the only thing about that, it's a good analogy. I get it. But the only thing is when you comparing money. It's like once a person has that money, they don't need anybody else. So they can be on the island. Like if I was to get rich, and people were to turn on me, you have the resources. You're going to have a farm. You're going to have a mansion. You're going to have like your growing your own food, like how you talked about last time.
Somebody turns on you.
You're not going to need nobody.
But what about the people who don't? There's people who don't get, who don't turn on. The successful people.
Right.
And they're the ones who still also get turned away. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you're not wrong. I'm saying either way, it's like it's
so it's
hard
just like
to
I say, it's just using your best judgment and picking and choosing. There's some people who literally decide to make that category even smaller you're not successful. You don't make me look good.
Right.
So fuck you.
Well, you don't need those kind of people around anyway.
But then when it comes to those who are supportive, who are just the average Joe or whatever,
Yeah,
they still get
curried.
the middle finger.
They'll get curried
and
too.
it's just like, why?
That's just a bad person.
And that's
bad people.
And that's what we do.
But right.
In our race, a lot of us do that. So when they come in and try to play the race card, like, man, we've been oppressed and this and that. Don't even talk.
But we have.
That's where that comes from. Though.
Okay, yeah. You only saying that because that's a fact. But don't. I feel like you don't get to say that shit no more because now you ain't helping the situation.
You still do get to say the shit. The problem is
why? Because
no.
Because you're black. I mean, at this point, it's just like, bro, like,
I get what he's saying.
How do you still have the goal to feel to have an emotion about it?
Well, why the fuck would you not feel emotional about that shit? That's just insensitive.
But you're still doing it though. How are you gonna feel sensitive? How are you gonna feel emotional about it and you doing it too?
You're saying that you shouldn't stop at just saying that you should do something about it, which is correct.
That's true.
But you also still get the right to say it though.
Yeah, like you cannot take that shit away from nobody.
You feel that way.
You can't take that away from nobody.
How you gonna feel hurt? How you gonna feel hurt about it and you start doing it too? That's sitting there saying like, man, dog, fuck that bitch, bro. She broke my heart and all this other stuff.
But you've done that.
But you've done that, and I've got better because of what I went through.
Right.
What I started getting emotional about.
You got to give other people that same time though. You got to give other people that time too though.
You're just judging them as of right now.
Right. There's people who have time that don't give a fuck.
It takes long. It's
a process for everybody.
Everybody's different, bro. Everybody's different.
Like, you're just basing it off of your personal experiences,
right.
which is technically what we get at with majority of the time we talk to you.
I'm basing it off of my personal experience. But when we was talking about what it is that we experience from other races and shit like that, and that people are opted to change, it was like, Mark, you're caping it. I don't want to hear that shit, bro.
I didn't say nothing about you caping. So.
No,
I said you were caping because that's what he was saying.
What he was saying wasn't wrong either, though. I mean,
yes, it is a thing. It is a fact.
Right.
But also, like I said, people are opted to change. Like you also mentioned as well.
Right.
So
because he said earlier, it's a million different little things that plays into it, and he's talking on one thing, you're talking on another thing, and I'm talking from. It's all correct.
Yeah,
it's just showing you how messed up this stuff really is. Like it doesn't have to be one specific, range to be wrong. Nah, it's a million different ways. Like you said, like anybody that grew up having to survive. They might be out here robbing niggas because that's all they've been taught.
And yeah, we made a fucking song about that shit. Like, literally, that was what Choir Boy was about. Like, you telling us, this is the reason why you're doing this shit, and it's bad, but at this point, there's no other option.
I'm actually surprised that you put that out there.
What? Choir Boy?
Yeah.
You already done mentioned the fucking mixtape and all that other shit. So
now you're giving people too many damn details. Either they remember that or they didn't even.
There's only one thing. Like there's it's 22 tracks on. Well, actually, like 26 tracks on the shit.
He just exposed that himself now.
I mean, it's just coming out next month.
It's not like he's leaking the song or something. He can talk about it.
Yeah.
Got to get the press run ready.
Exactly. I mean, the first track going to release on Friday. So
that's your content, bro.
All I'm saying is that this stuff is fucked up.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's more like with the situation we talk about. It's a ripple in the pond and shit. Like you imagine, like you throw a rock in the pond. Like what you talk about is the center. Then like what I talk about is like the outer shit. What happens like after that, and then Ave is like he's the rock that we threw in the fucking pond. Is it like he's what sparked the whole thing. He's what sparked the whole conversation. Like he's bringing all of this shit together.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about what's wrong all day, but it's just a matter of are we going to go ahead and continue to talk about what's wrong and let it be wrong, or we're going to see what we can do.
I agree.
Make it right. I agree. I understand. Yeah. Like I understand that portion.
Action. Yeah.
There has to be action. I get that, but on a grander scale, you cannot denounce the shit that is going on.
I don't denounce it.
You did,
but
in the beginning, you denounced it.
So what you're calling denouncing is me. I'm not putting too much of the listening ear and the mindset to it anymore, because that's not going to do nothing but make me feel worse. You got to protect your eye gates and your ear gates, as my pastor would say. You know what I'm saying? So
ignorance is bliss, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not. Well, technically, that's how that came up. Not knowing, not being aware of it.
Then why the fuck would
It's
you,
blissful
why wouldn't
to
you
that.
want to be why wouldn't you want to be aware of certain things?
There was a point in time where certain things happened to me. It was like, man, dog. I even said it several times. I said, there's moments where I deal with things that just becomes an anxiety to me that I wish I didn't even know any better. And that's where knowledge is power. Knowledge is power and responsibility, because there's a lot of people who are not going to be on that same wavelength as you. So it's going to become a very anxiety-inducing thing. So when it comes to that, like, I know it's there, but at the same time, I'm not going to continue to listen to it to the point where it's going to hinder me so much. No, I'm going to keep looking forward. I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to get the mission done. I'm going to keep looking forward. You want to be racist? Fine. I get it. And all this other stuff. It's fucked up and all this other shit. But at the same time, dog, watch me do me, and I'm going to make changes regardless. You want to continue to be racist? I can't change you.
No,
at least yet.
But in order to accomplish the mission, you're gonna have to solve the racist problem. Because no matter what you do in life,
okay, and it also starts with us.
Who do you have to, like? No matter what kind of moves you make, you're gonna have to go through them to get any type of big resource.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're gonna have to solve this problem.
Dealing with
The
that,
niggas who own the shit are the niggas that don't like you.
Dealing with that, sure. All right, you're going to deal with it, but at the same time, I don't have to entertain that to the degree that you want.
But
me
they
to,
have to entertain you in order for you to gain resources.
Okay.
Then why they're not gonna give you shit? Like, I don't know what you're not.
They're not the only
understanding.
option.
They literally, in this country, they're the only option.
Like, a lot of races are not the only option. We have our minds and also creativity to do a lot of shit that'll work. For one.
Okay, all right.
It might take
maybe
longer.
If I paint a picture, the cops won't shoot me.
It may take longer, but it could still happen. And also, when you want to talk about making things better, it's also starting with us. It's going to start with us. We are not really helping the situation entirely too much, still doing the negative shit that we're doing to each other.
Okay, which is incredibly obvious, and everyone talks about it.
That's my point, and that's it. That's all. But how much I entertain this shit, though, is totally up to me. Because now back then, I'm not sure how it was back then. I didn't live that long. But what I have right now is I have the option of actually drowning that shit out a little bit more.
I would never try and drown out the anguish of someone else.
The anguish of somebody else, it's there. I get it. And if I was there or brought awareness enough to help out, then I'm helping out. But at the same time, bro, it's like, bro, all right, come on. This happened. We're going to turn you away. I understand you feel a certain type of way. We're going to make this better. But I'm not going to keep having you look at it. Hurt. What the fuck you going to get from that hurt standing there staring at it? No, you're going to turn the fuck around and you're going to get better somehow. But you ain't going to keep standing, well, man, I'm going to stand right here in this spot and complain about it. What the fuck?
What if people use that to, like, stay motivated and, like, refocused on the mission and all that?
You said, what if they use it to stay motivated?
Yeah.
To stand there?
And the idea is
that's a hell of a chance.
That's not what we're speaking on. The idea of learning shit is not just to sit there and continue to keep looking at it. It's to know where you came from and know not to repeat the same mistakes.
Okay, and
right. That's what experience comes from.
I know where I came from, and that's also my motivation to go ahead and get the mission done. That's why I'm, feeling as knowledgeable as I am right now. So having this conversation with you, I'm aware of the situation. I'm never going to denounce it and be like, "Oh man, that didn't happen."
But you did denounce it,
and that it's okay. To you, I denounced it. I'm gonna get in you today.
Pause.
To you,
pause.
I denounce.
Pause the fuck.
Nah,
pause,
we having a serious ass conversation.
Fuck that. No, pause. I don't give a damn how serious the
Gaslight the shit if you want to.
Pause.
But I'm not gonna sit here and just like, all right, well, I denounce it. I don't ignore the shit. I'm aware that it happens.
But you ignored it.
I don't care. But looking at it, because it's going to happen. It happens. I don't care enough to sit here and make up a bitch think about it and then be so fucking and standing in stagnant waters and like I'm in quicksand. I'm gonna keep my feet moving.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm gonna move my feet.
Let me ask you a question then. So you looking the other way because you're just chalking it up to it's going to happen. Do you feel like that's a big reason why it still happens?
No. All right, let me put it like this. When I look away, I'm not sitting here turning a blind eye to it.
That's what looking away.
That's what looking away.
It's like, all right, cool. Like when you wage war, sometimes you have to go ahead and retreat sometimes, and then till you can get better at it. To me, it's kind of like retreating, but I'm not leaving it alone. I'm coming back to take that shit over to make it better. So it's not like, oh, well, yeah, man, fuck it, and it is what it is. No, I'm looking away. I'm like, all right, cool, I got it. And that's always still sitting there in my memory bank because I have to go do something to make it better. But how? Am I going to sit here and just stand and yell all the time about it? I mean, we can rally together. And it has made a difference when we rally together, protested and stuff like that. But that's not the only thing to do.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
So
we done had that conversation plenty of times.
So I can stand here and be mad as much as I fucking want to until the last of my days. All right, fine. But what have I accomplished? So I'm going to move my feet, get things done, and I'm going to come back to it. I'm not totally leaving it alone. I'm just leaving it alone for now. But I'm not leaving it alone forever. And I will hope to encourage and show other people. I'm going to try to gather people who's going to try to get the mission done just like me. However, whatever knowledge they have to do that shit. I just want to plant the seed. I'm like, all right, bro, wake up. Here it is. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I ignite something in you, just like I hope you motivate and ignite something in me. And we all going to move our feet together. And then we're going to cover more ground type shit. And we all going to come back to this same spot, the big stronghold to this shit. And we're going to fucking take this shit over. And not take it over as in, oh man, well, we're going to master it and we're going to run shit on, completely on our own. No, we're just going to take it over. It's just so this oppression can stop.
Okay. I mean, in a perfect world, that sounds good, but there's so many other things you're gonna have to accomplish in order to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we still there's definitely gonna be like, all right, well, we're gonna have to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to get the resources somewhere. But at the same time, I'm not gonna live my resources and that to the entire. I'm gonna have the mind of like, you know what? Now that I got the resources, let me start taking this resource, the money or whatever, and I'm gonna start building shit for us. I'm gonna start doing this for
that's
us.
not. Yeah, but like I said earlier, that's not good enough. That's not good enough because what it is like before any.
What do you mean it's not good enough? It's something.
But listen, we've been saying this the whole.
That's like sitting there saying a penny's not worth nothing. You keep doing enough, you're getting enough of the motherfuckers.
No, what I'm saying, you're not listening. So what I'm saying is like we've been talking about this the whole podcast. Until black people mentality change, no matter what you do, it's not gonna be enough. We've been talking, sure. Right? That's definitely a big key before you start like trying to gather and construct and use the resources, we need to change mentalities first.
And that's why I also was saying that we are also one of our biggest problems as well because we're too busy trying to compete and shit like that. That's what I was saying before I realized that the podcast even started. But yeah, like we are also one of our biggest problems.
Right?
We ain't making this shit no better.
Right?
So
But until we make that better, we can't step forward. We're not infiltrating nothing because it's like he said earlier, or one of y'all said like,
if we make a plan, step forward. If haters are gonna be haters, but I'm not gonna let the haters.
But it's not about hating though, because it's like at the end of the day, you won't be able to defeat that monster by yourself. No matter how good you are, it's gonna be a lot of retreating, and then eventually. What happens when a war starts? What happens when niggas retreat too much? The war's over.
But I'm never by myself. There's other people who are moving forward just like me.
Based off of the information you've given me, a lot of your friends are definitely not worthwhile as far as like being out there in the thick of things.
And why do you think my circle is so small now?
Apparently, like right now, what you're saying is you don't have shit.
When I've addressed a lot of things with friends, I've called them friends because they was once my friends, especially for long term. So I still call them friends. I still use the term friends, but at the same time, they are no longer my friends currently right now. If you want to throw that out there,
friendships expire. I mean, I kind of feel like that's a. I kind of feel like since we're on this topic, I kind of feel like that's a big problem in the community. Is like,
that as well. Yeah.
People don't.
The envy from other, friends and shit like that, or just people in general. That's
people don't work to keep the friendships strong. People really only focus on like the commitment to like relationships. You know what I mean? And
that as well. I definitely feel big.
You agree?
That. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people definitely don't work to try to keep relationships. It's too much of just
yeah.
On to the next one, or because I got options here. So
and we chalk it up to what people be saying. Oh, people busy. We growing now and stuff like that. But in essence, we probably know some of the busiest people on earth that still got time to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing. Like I know people with 5 and 6 kids. Married, job, everything.
And still be talking on the phone for like 3 hours.
Come hang. You know what I'm saying?
It's just basically emphasizes the unfortunate fact that the person who's doing the walking away, they wasn't, invested in the first place since the
Yeah,
beginning.
or they were, and they just
It was like
over time.
It was a lot of shallow reasons.
Also,
But see, now for those who are invested, I mean, of course, patience does expire as well sometimes. So
Right.
if somebody's it takes both parties. When you mention relationships, it takes both parties to pay attention to shit. Y'all both gotta work on it. Things both gotta get better on both sides, type of thing.
It depends, because one person can be trying.
Now, yeah, one person could be trying, or it could be both. Now, sometimes if both people are trying, like, at least you tried.
Right.
There's that.
Yeah.
Now, if you still have to separate from that, then that it's now for a healthier reason, because now you took the time and realized everything that you were doing, you're trying and all this other stuff. You gave time to also reevaluate shit as well, and they just realized, well, we tried everything. Things are still getting kind of chaotic or whatever. I think it's just healthier,
Right.
But then there's those who just like, nah, man, it's over, type shit.
Right.
I don't care. Those are the type of people who literally, I believe, that one wasn't really into it from the beginning, or they started from a very dumbass reason, a very shallow reason.
I mean, that's
a reason with less weight to it.
Yeah, that's normally what it is. Like you said earlier, like you said a few seconds ago, jealousy. That's a big thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, for some reason, like we were saying way earlier in the podcast, like when somebody does something before you, it makes said person feel like a failure instead of looking at said person as like inspiration or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a mentality.
And you talk about in a relationship, or you talk about like
friendships,
friends?
anything.
it don't have to be a friendship or anything. It can be acquaintances,
coworkers.
That's why it's considered that envy is a sin, because it causes you to do destructive shit. But I thought you were saying like in relationships, like some people who just like become envious, but it's just like
that's true. It happens at all levels.
But
Yeah, all levels.
hopefully we learn to communicate more and just like, you know what? How can I be a part of that? How can I get that? Like, how can I get involved, type of thing? Because for one, you already got gateway access. You're with the person. You're in a relationship with that person. Now with friendships, it all depends on what you're envious for. Because you can always still ask, how to achieve certain things.
Right.
Unless it's just like, for example, oh man, I'm envious because I want that girl, but that's my boy's girl. That's where it becomes an issue. You know what I'm saying? That shit can't be helped.
And then what happens is,
like, I can't help you with that.
The guy's gonna think like, damn. Like you said earlier, when you was in a relationship, the guy's gonna think like, damn, is this really my boy? Is this really my bro? Should I try her anyway? That's how you can tell like what kind of friendship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was nothing from the beginning. That really
right.
Because
it's like as soon as you get something like that,
at least come to be like, you know what, man, dog, this, that, and the third. Like, why you only focusing on my shorty, man? Like, I hope we can communicate and try some shit out until you get one of your own type shit.
Right, and it's like that's how you also it triggers. That's how you also know it was a competition. Because it's 6 billion females on Earth.
Yeah, envy will definitely expose a lot of shit.
Yeah,
like, but see, and that's why they say, how can you have a balance of things without chaos? Certain things have to certain negative shit has to expose shit like that. That's how balance works.
Yeah.
So, because if everything's all peachy keen and everything was working out, you never know what the intentions is of other people. You would never know what kind of shit, what kind of people they are.
And it depends on like, one, it depends on what position you in, and also depends on your mentality. Because I'll give you a peek inside my mind. Right now, me being around a bunch of people a lot, I know everybody doesn't have my best interest in mind. I know secretly some niggas might be hating or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that growing up in urban areas, that's how life is. You know what I mean? At the same time, and you'll never catch me saying it too much because it comes off as like cocky and arrogant. But I know like when it comes to like my work ethic, I'm a bad motherfucker.
You are.
A lot of people not going to outwork
No,
you.
that you are. I confirm.
You know what I'm saying?
are.
Like a lot of people, and I hang my hat on that because it's like at the end of the day, when people do like negative or they have like malicious intent or anything like that, I'm going to outwork niggas regardless. And I'm going to keep pushing forward to what I'm trying to do. Because I'm not competing with nobody. I look at, you know how when you're younger, your parents tell you like, oh, you know, everybody ain't your friend and this and that and this and that. I'm the guy that looks at everybody like they're my friend, even though I know they not. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of me, like a lot of the time growing up, whether it was on sports teams, friendship circles, whatever, when everybody tried to like appoint me as like the captain or the leader, I always play it down because I want people to feel as equal as possible to subdue the feelings of envy, jealous, when it doesn't have to be like that. Now you can't stop it, no. But at the end of the day, as long as I did my part and trying to make sure everybody's equal, then you're gonna have to take that up with yourself.
Yeah. Now the work is on you. I totally
Right.
get it. It's just like, look, you could do it too. It's up to you whether you pick it up or you leave it down on the ground type shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I totally get that. Either that or you just like, you know what, I'm gonna have to walk away from you. Like, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely an alternative
like,
too, yeah.
You see, now, the biggest thing out of that situation that I stick to is the attempt. You attempt it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the shit that matters to me. Attempt.
I don't
just be like, oh man.
Because I've been in situations where I've seen like the nigga next to me have like super a lot and I don't have nothing. But I didn't get jealous.
Yeah.
I was inspired.
Yeah, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Like somebody
ask the questions or like, you know what, all right, fine, I'll figure it out because you know for a fact that you're going to work for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then there's people who just they just want to have it. They just want to come up. They just want to be
right.
They're just like, I want to be there. I want to have that.
Yeah.
And then that's where the jealousy kicks in because it's just like, for those who get jealous is because
they know that they're not willing to work for it.
They know is either they can accept that it's not time yet, or they know they're not working. They're not working for it. They're not going to work for it.
Right.
They want it easy.
Or like you said, the competition. They just wanted to do it before said person.
Yeah, they want to show it off.
Yeah.
But for those who actually put in an attempt, like, all right, well, I got you, or this and that. I see that you're going to work and all that. Sure. But, you know, it's either you have the riches of knowing that you're going to work for it, or you have the riches of somebody actually teaching you along with you willing to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that either.
So, you know, that's where it brings back to the whole race thing and stuff like that. You know, some people are willing to attempt like you do.
Right.
It's out there. Here it is. I'm going to give you a little nugget. It's up to you. I'm going to give you the seed. It's up to you to grow it. Now, you got to, you know, maintain it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then there's those who just like, don't even give you the seed. It's just like, well,
yeah, that's wrong. I mean, and even with the seed thing, it's like, you know, giving out seeds, I would hope that's all you had. Because it is people giving out seeds and then they walk around the corner, they got a whole forest. That they could have, you know what I'm saying? That they got endless red oaks that they could have gave out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And if they were if they're giving you a seed, they probably giving other seeds. Hopefully, they're giving other people seeds too. But see, the thing is, when you got seeds, you now have something, the cash cow, if you will, to produce that forest as well.
Okay, of course.
So, you know,
I'm a seed person.
Like
I'll take the seed. You don't got to give me the tree. I'll take the seed.
The fact that you gave me that, all right, bet. You know what? Now I'm gonna start. I'm gonna plant this one joint. Oh, it produced more seeds. All right, cool. I'm gonna start making hella forest now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's which, like I say, it's all based off of what you do. That's the work.
Right.
The gardening is the work. But, you know, it's just hoping to meet those people who actually are willing to give out seeds, because that's the most invaluable thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A seed, mustard seed or whatever. It's the most easiest, simple, and valuable thing. And you can part ways from that. Kind of like giving somebody out on the street $1 or a sandwich or whatever. It's something, because you're giving something that's going to get them by to keep going.
Yeah. Because
literally, if they get a sandwich, they don't starve. Live long enough to go ahead and have an idea that's going to make them rich. Yeah. Give them $1. That dollar, it could turn into them being able to get somewhere or whatever. It's a step up for them to get to the riches.
Yeah, or I'm about to say, if you don't want to go that extreme as far as like $1 million, you give them a sandwich, and then now they don't pass out or something, and they walk around. Then by this evening, they might run into somebody else who give them another sandwich.
Yeah.
And then, and
yeah,
so on
like
and so forth.
It's the simplest little things that actually conduct it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm big on like the butterfly method and shit like that. Or what I said, the butterfly method. The butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like certain shit, you can do and it will change lives. It's the smallest fucking thing. Like shit, barbershop, for example. That nigga who was always trying to get free haircuts.
Right.
Nigga had one that needed a fucking haircut for an interview. Now he was able to bring all the money back to Craig.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Simple little shit like that. Those
just to let you know, his name wasn't Craig in that movie. Just for reference.
But what I'm trying to say, bro. So,
for the audience.
Cube. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Craig, Cube, that, you know what I was trying to say.
Well, I said the real name.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
I mean, Ice Cube, yeah, I get it. I'm just I'm so used every single time I see this nigga in a movie, that's Craig to me. Yeah. So
it's okay. But what this entire time I was just sitting here absorbing. Just listening. I tend to do that quite a bit.
Okay.
But going back to what you guys were talking about with the whole idea of the seed process.
Mm-hmm.
I had somewhat of another analogy. Like they call this technically like begging in most cases, but at this point in time, I feel as though it's not even begging anymore. It's a resource that is desperately needed. People will give you, even just in our own community, in the black community, people will pretty much, just like the hoarding of the information shit, they'll give you the end result, and the blueprint will be just hidden behind a whole bunch of paywalls, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's just, they will never give you that unless you either pay for it or they just keep it to themselves, which is an unfortunate byproduct of the shit that we have to deal with on a consistent basis.
Right.
But you look at, like, even in friendships, like, we'll deal with that somewhat of that same information. Like, they'll have an idea of how you can fix certain things or something like that because they've gone through it in experience. And they'll give you just the bare minimum just because they feel as though, all right, I'm not going to give you the whole spiel or whatever the hell they want to say in order to cover up the fact that they're not going to help you, which is somewhat of a very unfortunate circumstance. And
it sound like a lot of what parents do too.
Yeah, they do. They'll give you just which is a generational curse that we actually talked about. Which is another thing that is somewhat stemming from, quote unquote, like, it is stemming from racism.
Yeah, because a lot of our parents were of age and they did literally not like the slavery thing, but the whole segregation and
not only did they segregate from people, like just segregate themselves from whites. They segregated themselves from like people who are willing to help or help them to learn different things just to be better. They segregated themselves from everybody, and it's harmful, and because they teach that to their children. And what I was talking to somebody earlier today about was the fact that words in general are it can hurt a lot more than physical pain, because a few words can travel through generations while physical pain can only travel through a lifetime.
Right.
So that ingrained mindset can be detrimental to 6-7 generations moving forward. That mental trauma can go
depending on how say a person handles the trauma.
Exactly. And they're gonna teach that to their kids, and they're going and until someone figures out that this was the wrong thing to do, it's going to keep happening. And not only is it going to keep happening, it's going to happen more frequently because they're going to have more people involved in it.
Right.
So it's going to spread.
Right.
Like, our pandemic happened a long time ago. Like, COVID ain't shit compared to what we had to deal with as far as mentally. Like, that is a mental pandemic. And most people are just looking at it as just like, well, we got to shrug that off. It's not that easy. Like, we have the end result in mind, but the blueprint is not there yet. Like, in order for us to get the blueprint, we have to come together, and which is something that is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact is, we lack unity because of the shit that we had to deal with. Like, I know I tend to like bring it too much back to the whole idea of black and white thing, or the black in general in the race standpoint, but it's a thing that has to happen. Like, you have no other choice. And we coming up on Black History Month, ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, Tuesday.
So the idea behind that shit is just like, it's so much to break down and just to neglect so much of that based on the fact that we have what? Like, maybe a few people doing well and some shit like that, and they have
definitely a few.
Yeah, just a few people doing well, and they're well off, and we have something to strive for. Sure, like that don't mean nothing.
Yeah, when on the other side there's literally like structured formulas.
Yeah,
like a train, if you will, where they hook something up to a locomotive. Somebody hops on this car, somebody hops on that car.
Mm-hmm.
You a millionaire, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
that generational wealth shit, like, we're just getting hip to that.
Yeah.
We're just getting hip to that. Bro, it took me until my late 20s to understand generational wealth.
And they've been on that since who knows?
Yeah, since like the 1500s, since they were back in Great Britain.
Kings and
Nigga.
So that's about 500.
Nigga, longer.
About 700 years.
Yeah, they've been on that for a long time. And not only did they do that, the situation where we were all, the fact is, a lot of us were already here. Like I said earlier, Native Americans naturally were black.
Right.
So a lot of us were already here. And then you also got to look at the fact that there are even impoverished areas outside of the United States that are just getting out from underneath the boots of oppression. I think Trinidad, I believe, who just they end up, as of right now, I think it was like last year. Mm-hmm. They just got from underneath the heel of the Queen of England.
Oh, yeah. That was Trinidad.
Bro, they lost the English lost the fucking war and then taxed them niggas because they lost. And it was like, oh, we need this amount of money to compensate for the shit. And then they were still paying this shit off until the late 2000s or the 2000s, 2020s. Bro, they took all of the resources and said, you have to pay us for the resources. That's the type of shit you have to deal with. When you look at the whole idea of just racism, it's a problem, but it's not that big of a problem. No, that shit is systemic.
Right.
On a grand scale. And you look at that, and you look at shit like that, and you just say, wait a minute. There's absolutely no way that I can stand for shit like that and just act like it doesn't exist. Like, I understand that ignorance is bliss in most cases.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem we have is that we chose to be willfully ignorant.
Yeah. Like I said, I get it. Because, it's a lot to really focus on once you harp on that all day, every day.
Yeah.
And then you, like we were saying earlier, you got the people who are striving under said oppressive structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's a lot to unpack.
It is. It's quite a bit to unpack. Like, in order for you to unpack it all, it'd take the amount of episodes that we've already done, plus about another 100.
Right. And then to make said changes, like you said, this stuff has been in place for 600-700 years. And then the structure is so strong that they're probably already thinking about stuff 200-300 years. You know, and that's another thing is like they're like willing to put stuff in place even though they know they're not going to see the results of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't make those kind of sacrifices.
Nope. And I've had that happen on consistent basis as far as like the older generation. They only think of themselves and not necessarily thinking of like the future generations and what's going to happen after that. I understand the whole idea of like life insurance and shit like that.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
outside of that,
Right.
they don't really care.
Right.
Like,
and that's like always going to be like a problem.
And like the funny thing is, like a lot of people like talk about life insurance and shit like that, but really, are they really doing it because they want to have their children to have something or their loved ones to have something afterwards, or are they just doing it just because that's what they were taught to do? Which is another question.
Yeah, and we talked about that on one of the generational curses, John, too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you'll get the people, you know, leaving stuff to animals and...
Mm-hmm. Bro,
like
I found out, nigga, I found out one of my aunts like is going to leave all of her money to the church. And
that's another thing.
Because like she felt like a portion of her family ain't gonna be trustworthy, so she decided not to give it to anybody that she felt was trustworthy. So she decided to give it to the church, who's not even taxed. Like they're gonna get all of this money, and none of it's going to go towards anything like structure based.
Right. Yeah, and that kind of stuff is like, you know, I kind of feel for the family, and it's like, it doesn't. I'm not gonna say it don't make sense because I get it. Like if she's like a real like religious person, I get it. But the church doesn't need your money.
They don't.
Your family, unless everybody's like has structured careers, they like entrenched in their careers and stuff like that. Your family gonna need that money, whether you feel like people gonna be trustworthy or not. That shouldn't be like your concern. And then even if it is, there's ways around it. You know, okay, well, here this portion of the life insurance can only be used on like starting a business, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
like,
can create stipulations for your money.
Right. But it's like the fact that you bypass that
and immediately go towards the church because they don't know any better. Like they don't know the idea of finances.
It depends because I feel like some people could know better. They just trying to be spiteful too.
That too. That's also a big problem and shit. Like the older generation, if they're spiteful towards you, like don't expect shit out of them.
Yeah. Like that's I don't know. That's also a lot to unpack. Like going forward, but as long as it keeps being like this, which I know it won't, because our generation and the generations after us, we view kids way differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like stuff is changing little by little.
Yeah, I take a lot of like children, like a lot of their shit into consideration.
Yeah.
Especially dealing with like finances and also with like sexual shit, because we both have been in a situation where we were put into a situation where we're dealing with sexual shit as children.
Right.
Like we're not going to put the name to it because you know.
Yeah. No, I don't want to talk about that. Let's not. Yeah. But I get what you're saying.
But we've dealt with shit like that.
Right.
And you have to take a lot of their words into consideration because there's no telling what's going on when you're not around.
Especially like once you get older and you see like, damn, it is a lot of grown-ups out here that likes kids and et cetera, et cetera. Like this is
weirdo niggas. A lot of them.
This is super normal to a lot of people. Like,
and we were talking about the whole anime shit earlier with me and Mark was talking about that shit. It's a lot of dudes that really enjoy the fact that they sexualize children in anime. There's a lot of dudes that enjoy that. And bro, I saw like it was like certain comments I was reading on certain ones and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude talking about he wanted. Nah, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it because we on the air.
Yeah.
It's some really fucked up shit they be saying in like comment sections just because the fact is they're sexualizing children.
Right.
And people aren't taking that shit into consideration. Like even I think it was a couple of days ago. Mark was over my house and shit, and we mentioned like we ended up getting you heard it. You heard it. You heard that shit.
That was a little uncomfortable.
Nigga, for you, imagine how I felt. So it's this weird ass little TikTok video or some shit. I don't know what the hell the video is.
Mhm.
I've never seen it. But the shit that they're saying, it's like they're saying, oh yeah, but it's in a moan.
Okay.
So I'm hearing my niece say that. She's 5.
Right.
And the rest of the household is like, oh, that's just a TikTok video. No, the fuck, it's not. That's sexual shit that shouldn't be talked about or shouldn't be said by a 5-year-old.
Right.
Or at least just the way it sounds.
Yeah.
Because maybe it wasn't made for that purpose, but just the way it sounded.
Exactly.
It was just like.
No, the thing about that is like there's a lot of sexual stuff on TikTok, but it's like for some reason it just gets a pass because it's TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, because like with the certain dances and stuff that you see the girls doing with their kids and stuff, like the dances be sexual.
They are.
Yeah, but it's like because it's TikTok, it's looked at as a fun app.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are just not aware of the shit that they're creating, like of how it could look or what it could really do.
The same thing we're talking.
Again, they probably just don't care. But
It's because and it's funny because we was having this little discussion in the Xbox joint yesterday, and I was saying like, you know, females. It's funny because it's like. I was like, when it comes to a female, I was like, twerking is like one of the only activities on earth that can stretch across several different moods that girls will play it off as. Like, you ever see a girl, like if they twerking, they being sexual. Or you ever see a girl post and she twerking and she's like, oh, just me being goofy. You know? Or just me being silly. Or she twerking, oh, I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they using it for every single mood. So when it comes to the TikTok,
I was gonna say it depends on what they're using it for. A lot of them be try to do it to attract or try to show off type of thing.
Right? But they always, I'm just playing around,
which is unfortunate because actually,
it's
twerking originated from a cultural.
It's sexual. It's sexual now.
It's sexual.
It was
now,
a cultural dance, but it originated from. But now they turned that into they turned it for negative means,
right?
And now it's being frowned upon because of why they do it and what they do it and how they do the shit,
right?
Yeah.
So that like you do it on TikTok and for some reason it's just, oh, TikTok is just fun and games.
Exactly, it's fun. They see it as fun and games regardless of how it's received by another.
Right?
Because you rarely when you deal with. Well, and when you know what's going on and you know the type of people that are out here, you look at things differently. And because remember when we was going over the whole emotional incest video?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole emotional incest little fucking podcast and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, it opened your eyes to a lot of different shit because you look at it and you're just like, we normalize so much of this.
Yeah, and didn't even know what it was.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then you just look at the whole idea with the TikTok shit. We normalize sexuality in children because it's a TikTok trend.
Yep. The same thing that had parents was suing TikTok because of that little viral song that was going viral about a rapper. He had made a song, and in the song he was talking about all these people that he killed or whatever. And it was a real song. Like, he really killed like all these people or whatever. But it blew up because the song was catchy.
Damn shame.
And people was doing like the little skits, and people was doing like a lot of skits and stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? And so it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like stuff like that'd be cool, but somebody post themselves feeding the homeless. Go ahead, bro. You ain't got to pat yourself on the back. You know what I'm saying? But all this other stuff would be like super cool. I don't know. It's a lot to.
It's a lot to take in, but
Pause.
Yeah, definitely pause. But realistically, it's so much stuff that you gotta just, like you said, unpack.
Yeah.
And it's just unfair almost in a way, because when you look at it on a grander scale, it's just like, how do you break that. That's the scary thing. Like, how?
It's gonna take like, and we were saying this about the when the riots and stuff was happening. We not gonna fully see the change. Like how Martin Luther King was in his speech.
Obviously,
Yeah, he ain't gonna get there with us and all that. Like he understood like this is gonna take some years, man. It might take like 100 years or something like that. But how Mark was saying earlier, everybody piece by piece do something, and eventually, hopefully, everybody can like influence the other people to kind of kick in. But the mentality's gotta change. Everything gotta stop being a competition first.
Absolutely.
Or if it is a competition, because this is one thing I also never understood is like why people be so predicated on competing with like their friends instead of like the rest of the world. That's the real competition. Like, why you want to be better than me? Like, I'm not nobody yet. You know what I'm saying? Like if you doing something, like if you acting, yeah, we got Verizon cable, so it's about 300-400 channels. Go be better than all them. That's 400 channels of people that you could be better than. Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. What are we gonna call this?
So it's hard to like put a name on this shit. It was just like, Black History Month introduction.
Yeah,
or some shit.
It's Black History Month is okay.
It's some wild shit that like we. At this point, it just seemed like at one point we couldn't even shut up. Yeah. Is the thing. It's scary though, but because when we jump on topics like this, it's almost guaranteed gold
because it's too much. It's too much to talk about.
It is.
And for people who are listening, that's how you know this shit is genuine.
Especially with a nigga Mark, because that nigga won't shut up for shit. But yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Man, why keep your mouth shut when you got something to say?
It's okay. It's okay. This nigga want to be like seem as though he's like not talkative at all, but really this nigga he talks. He'll talk your fucking ear off if you let him.
Yeah, for shit that matters.
Yeah. I'm sort of the same way, but actually no, I'm not, because I'll talk your ear off regardless of how I feel. Which is something I had to learn. Which is the reason why I got the spoken word. Because now I could just talk and shit. I could just talk as much as I fucking want to. But would you like to send us off, man?
Oh, you can do it.
Oh, okay. I see my man over here in his phone and shit. Probably got a really nice conversation going with one of his little female friends. I know Mark doing that right now. He's like,
Mark over there shopping.
Oh yeah, I'm just like,
yeah. This nigga talking
kind of like window shopping.
Yo, maybe that $1 million he was talking about what really came through.
Yeah, I'm been shopping for like a half hour. That's got like long for window shopping.
He was talking about buying me down like 2 and some shit. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck wrong with you?
Found me a bunch of artwork that I like.
Look at this nigga.
Might have to buy that in the future.
My motherfucking artwork and shit.
Yeah.
Nigga about to buy the Mona Lisa and shit. That's on priceless.
Hey, go ahead buy one of them Bob Ross, don't
Hey, yo, yeah, no bullshit. Get the Bob Ross.
Everybody
he told me how you big on Bob Ross, man.
Yeah, I watch him.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with some Bob Ross.
I love Bob Ross. I'm not.
Yeah, bro. Like Bob Ross is fun to watch. I fell asleep watching him, bro. It's peaceful as hell.
Yeah, handful of things I ain't ashamed of, and he one of them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have like a podcast. We do like our guilty pleasures and some shit, like certain things that a lot of people would not expect us to really be into and shit.
Yeah, that'd be one of mine. Bob Ross.
I love.
If I'm not doing nothing, I watch Bob Ross all day.
Yeah, shit. What?
One didn't give up.
Hey, we sit here just watching Bob Ross together and shit, just making jokes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro, that documentary.
Cause it's funny because we used to talk about him like every here and there again. Remember we was like outside,
yeah,
and niggas was talking about because at first we was talking about Pappy Land, and then we was like, hey, who was the laid back nigga that was paying?
Yeah.
He was the best in shit.
Yeah, Bob
Ross, yeah, that was like, my man right there.
That's. Man,
all these months later, oh man, going live though.
Yeah, got that Twitch stream and shit. We on that.
Mm-hmm.
We coming over this jump, bro. We don't even be doing nothing but sitting here watching Bob Ross.
Yeah.
See what that we about to paint next and shit.
Yep.
sitting there critiquing the fact that he say it's that fucking easy, but really this nigga just that good.
Yeah. And then be critiquing him like he's still alive and shit. Bob Ross the goat.
Yeah.
I'd be so interested, like even when it comes to like Murray and Tangy and and Victoria, when I used to talk to her, it was like yo, y'all like just mad talented. Like I seen Tangy post something earlier where she drew Eric and shit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, that's like
I couldn't do that. Well, I'm not gonna say I can't do that because that would be counterproductive. I could possibly do that, but as of right now, with my current abilities, not looking too likely.
Not looking too likely. Yeah, so I just be generally impressed with the art, and he's like the
Eric might be one of the goats out here in these DMV streets.
Yeah, and then you bring in like paint and stuff like that. Like that's just because it's so messy. Like you got to be super strategic.
Yeah,
you already got to be super strategic with a pencil.
Yeah, at least with that you can erase.
Yeah, but it's like with that, it's like one slip up and. Except for Bob Ross, because Bob Ross will slip up and he'll turn that shit into like a tree or something.
Yeah, no bullshit. Like these are just happy accidents.
No, that's his favorite. That's his favorite little line. Can't tell me he wasn't no killer, son.
I told you, him and Mr. Rogers, bro.
Yeah, I like it.
They would have made a real malicious tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga. I would love to have them two in the zombie apocalypse, nigga.
No, boy.
I'll never die.
Facts.
So, just having these two is like having 007 and John Wick. It's like,
no bull.
You know, and Mr. Rogers definitely John Wick out of the group.
Oh yeah, how he was killing dog tags allegedly. My man, out this down.
Kill Confirmed was created because of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, he probably did. I call this one Kill Confirmed. Got 100 dog tags.
And then go into the bunker and put on his sweater.
He probably was doing that out there. He probably was.
Killing niggas in a fatigue sweater.
Fatigue slippers and all that.
No bullshit.
Shit, man. Take that shit as a whole confession. This nigga said kill confirmed, though.
He was in the Army.
He was?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers was in the Army. Well, Marines, he's one of them. Air Force or something. Something he was catching bodies, though.
He
was
really
catching
was.
bodies wherever he was at.
So, oh my God. Saving Private Ryan was probably this nigga.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. Solid Snake. Solid Rogers.
Yeah. Metal Gear Rogers.
Oh, man. Chill fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, but that would be a fire-ass little spin-off.
Metal Gear Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play it.
Yeah, what? That'll be the first Metal Gear game that I ever buy. Because I've never played any of the games.
Might have to call copyright on that shit, bro. Somebody gonna take that idea and run with that shit for sure.
Hey, it's January 26th, 2020.
What time is it?
2:34 p.m. So it's 2 years before we're gonna actually release this. You know what I'm saying?
2 years.
Yeah, so I could try. Yeah, we can get sued in court, man.
Hey,
I'll take a settlement too, though.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, I'll take a settlement. $10 million apiece for each of us sitting right here.
Hey, that'd be a pretty nice little settlement. Fuck you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That plays into the back into the resources thing. We wouldn't even think about that. We had the resources, my nigga.
Yeah. when I had to sell out. Yeah, I had the suite out there. I'm the one that created Call of Duty. But I was broke, so I sold the rights to it, you know what I'm saying? This nigga sold the rights to it and shit.
That's what happened with Bob Rose.
Yeah, I think they conned him.
Yeah, they definitely conned that nigga.
Yeah, he had cancer. You know, once you get towards the end with cancer, you can con people.
The mind goes first.
Yeah. Where's the sign this, Bob? No way in the world, like, his family not reaping the benefits from all that. All the millions of dollars.
Goddamn
no
shame.
way in the fucking world.
Goddamn shame.
Yeah.
But, like, we kind of branched off and shit.
Yeah, we did. Let's go ahead and get out of here.
So that's been another Breaking the Narrative podcast, BTN for short. I'm Tony.
I'm Teddy.
And I'm Mark Anthony.
And we getting the fuck up out of here, man.